Open air PCs fascinate me. I've always wanted to mount a flayed computer to the wall, but I've always needed to be able to transport my PC to LAN parties, so that was never going to fly. But my love for exposed PC parts has never gone away. So imagine my delight when Insurgency Labs reached out to us and asked if they could sponsor us doing a video about their open air ITX PC case. When they first reached out to us, this product was still very much in development. And frankly, I couldn't wait to get my hands on this and make a naked PC of my own.
Well, my brother's fascination with PC nudism concerns me. We get a lot of offers from random companies for sponsorships. Everything from dog jewelry to wearable spaghetti. Insurgency Labs, however, is making a product that we think is really cool. And they even took our suggestions based on our experience and made real changes to the final design. They sent us two of their open-air PC cases, the Insurgency A and the Insurgency S. Might call it a PC mount, an epic mount. Hashtag World of Warcraft.
Hashtag World of Warcraft.
Hashtag World of Warcraft. I'm 37.
I was so excited to build on one of these mounts, especially now that my personal computer is in a massive Thermaltake level 10 case. That mother is so big, it has a built-in deadlift handle.
I don't think we're gonna use the deadlift handle today. I think we're just gonna...
Oh, that's a shame.
And I don't want to break my back moving computers like my brother did.
I was so crippled at one point, they offered me to be king of Westeros.
Because who has a better story than Dan the Cripple? So I need something a little more portable, and if Insurgency Labs is going to give us one of these, who am I to say no?
Today we're going to walk you through building an ITX computer in or on one of these bad boys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cooking with the Canadian Computer Collectors.
All right, so having a look at everything in advance, there's clearly a lot of attention to detail here. They've done a very cool kind of like CPU trace design on the top of the power supply case. You got Insurgency Labs on the front. So what are the differences between these two?
So we have the SFX and the ATX form factors.
That is a tiny power supply.
That's just a little guy. And if you have a full ATX power supply, you can just hang it out the back of this bad boy. It even accommodates the long ones, which we're going to show you.
So the first step to cooking your Insurgency Labs open-air PC case is... Where do we start?
So the first thing you need to do, if you're going to be using the vertical GPU mount, you have to put this in first. We're not going to use it for our build, but it is the first step that you want to do if you intend to vertically mount your graphics card.
The other thing too is you need to determine what kind of power supply are you going to use. We're going to go with something a little more standard, an ATX power supply.
We're going to go with a real beefy mother of one too.
That's right. And luckily we have one prepared just below. Our homeboy Mr. I Void Warranties was here when we were testing out how these cases worked initially, and he came up with the idea of creating a couple little feet out of standoffs and some screws.
If you get one that's this long, you're definitely going to want to put something to support it out the back because it is a lot of weight hanging out. If you have a smaller one that fits within the confines of the case itself, you probably don't need to worry about putting feet on the back, but we just wanted to show you how big of a PSU you can fit in one of these things. And if we can make one recommendation, the power supply that you get should be modular because you don't want to deal with all of the extra cables hanging out the back.
Okay, I gotta admit, this is a little
So it's going to
tricky to line up.
It's going to push the power supply away unless you're actively pushing it into the screw as you screw it in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it just got nice.
Okay, perfect. Now last one shouldn't be so bad. Hey, that's coming back. There we go.
Do we want to mount our motherboard onto the rack first, or do we start with this on the case?
We should mount the motherboard to this.
Okay.
And then we'll put that on.
This process was a little tricky, and admittedly, we weren't too sure how it worked, but we looked up photos from the website. We've been told there will be instructions coming soon. So follow along and we're gonna show you how to do it. Looks like it's time for our next ingredients. This lovely motherboard with a AMD Ryzen 5500, is that? And 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. We also have a graphics card,
A GTX Titan X 11 gig.
Now that's not just any Titan, that is the big bad boy on the block. 11 gigs of RAM, better than 8. I know that's a big controversy right now.
You might be wondering why a GTX Titan X, because it's very aesthetic, and this is an aesthetic PC build.
Oh, well,
We're going for a cinematic PC build. Hold on, I'm gonna talk to the Gen Alphas for a moment. You might think that these parts are super mid, you might even say they're Ohio, but Skibbity, we're just going to go ahead and use the most aesthetic ones because today we're going for cinema.
You know what, I think the only sound that Gen Alpha wants to hear from someone our age is this. Here's $100. Okay, let's put this board together. We don't need to do much. I chuck that RAM in. Ramen? Oh. Chuck the ramen.
Do we have a backplate on that motherboard?
No, there's one from that other one though.
Is that an Intel or an AMD one?
The same dude.
Ever since AMD started using these Wraith coolers, they look really cool for a stock cooler.
I think they're really nice, yeah. That's a scary shot. Now, some of the more important ingredients that come with your kit are the small ingredients. Now, we're talking about standoffs, screws, and little pressure fit clips to keep things together.
And hex nuts.
For this next part, or should I say for this hex part, I dropped a screw. So for this next part, we have to use a bunch of standoffs of different sizes to put together the little carriage that holds our motherboard. So follow along carefully, because it took a lot of analyzing photographs to figure this part out. So this is our backplate, and this is the part that holds the motherboard. And you know that it holds the motherboard because it has the rails here for us to be able to tuck our cableage underneath. And to the side. Shiggity schwa, let's do it.
Look what I got at the trash and bags for only $2.
It's a game. I want to play it.
The Mario Twins. Was that the same people who did 55? I think it was.
So what we're going to do is use our standoffs. Now, your kit comes with quite a few of these small ones, and there will also be some longer ones. It's up to you how much space you want behind your motherboard, but we're going to go with a whole bunch of the regular small ones. And then you thread them through like so. So this end goes into the little well. Sometimes it'll click, sometimes not. And you take the next one, screw it onto the back. And I'll do 2 of these real quick just to show you what the final step looks like. Now you may have to push them through into that little well, but that's okay. Don't be shy. Now, in theory, this will slip through and we'll just put a little nut on the back. Little nut. All right, so then we're gonna thread the last 2 and then move on to throwing the motherboard on here. We have standoffs in place. Why so standoffish? So next up, we're gonna throw our board on. That'd be a good name for a company, Board On. Making boards. You'd be a specialist in onboarding. All right, so board is now mounted. So that's how the backplate mounts. But we're not gonna put the nuts on quite yet because we wanna run our cables. So, Stac, next up. You're the experienced one here. How do we mount the motherboard to the case?
So you're gonna notice 2 obvious spots here to mount the motherboard backplate into. Now you're gonna wanna be really gentle with these, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you're not applying too much lateral pressure. In a test run, I did actually break one of these when I was trying to mess around mounting an MATX board on it, which was a little heavy. They're coming out with a redesign that's going to be reinforced around
and they
here.
sent us a copy of one. You can see they've already done a great job of reinforcing this area, whereas this one is kind of a 90-degree angle. This now has a 45 built into it.
Like I was saying, you're gonna wanna be gentle with this.
It's good to have a second person even to help
Yeah, and just
kind of slowly guide them in.
one person making sure we're...
There we go. Now, also included in the kit are 2 little plugs to hold this in place. You're gonna take these, put the brown side facing down, and then slide them right into place. And don't force them, because remember, this is 3D printed material and you don't wanna break anything. Next up, we're gonna mount our graphics card. And to do so, we need another ingredient, this lovely little bridge span looking piece, which is gonna hang out right here and take the edge off the weight. Alright, so to mount the graphics card holder, you're going to push it through similarly to how we put the motherboard mount onto the case. It slides in, and we have one more of these little stoppers, and that goes in like so.
So if you were using a vertical mounted GPU, instead of having this bracket, this is the one that you would have put on before you put the power supply in. And then you'd use a riser cable, of course, to bring it around, and you would mount your graphics card like so. We're gonna do it normally because we're not weirdos. We're not weirdo f***ing vertical mount their GPUs.
God. Okay, so the note, this just rests.
Like a glove.
Okay, now we have a functional PC. Although we need a solid state drive.
Oh, that's cool. It mounts on the back.
Whoa!
Got the back raised.
There we go.
Once again. Like a glove.
And you must be the Monopoly guy. Thanks for the free parking.
All right, so we got this beast together. Now we need to do a little cable management made easy by Insurgency Labs with their backplate. Honestly, it does actually help because you can tuck everything behind here and then hide it behind this blade. So, Stace, did these nuts come with the kit or did you order them?
There was enough nuts that came with the kit, but also because this isn't the only build we're doing, I ordered more.
That's correct. We have a couple of these open air cases right now in our possession. And now for a final ingredient, which has been hanging out in the freezer. That's our power button. Long and stringy, right, ladies?
Power button is going to have a washer, and you're also going to have the front panel connectors. But you don't want to connect these to the header on your motherboard until you've already snaked this through, like so. There you go. See, if you got it in the right direction, it should be easy. All right, well then let's see if it runs.
So for the PC cooks at home who are really into doing things right, we have one special secret ingredient for you. That is the monitor that refuses to leave Stace's life.
I hate this thing so much. Does anybody remember the days when companies thought that what everybody wanted was, instead of actual buttons, just those kind of like touch screen style haptic buttons?
All right, ready? Oh, here we go. Sshrek. New CPU installed. Oh, corrupted. Structure change.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yes.
Press Y.
Look at that, folks. That's power. People might think that soft power, diplomatic power, that's the real power. This is straight up electrical power.
I am going to take this with me to LAN parties instead of dragging my Thermaltake level 10.
Oh, actually, and you did do that. We recently went to a LAN at our friend Rory's place, and Stace brought one of these cases with a build on it, and it was perfect. Welcome to Cooking with Canadian Computer Collector Behind the Sauce.
You go, girl.
It's where we dig into the ingredients that we just used in the thing that we made. All right, Stac, let's get your opinion on this. What did you think about the Insurgency Labs build?
I absolutely love it. I like the open air concept.
All right, we just received a tornado alert on my phone. Anyway, Stace, what did you think about this case? Let's do it from the top.
I love this thing. I love open air cases. I love showing off the components. There's a reason why we chose the components that we did. Is a Titan X the most recent graphics card? No, but it is one of the most beautiful released in the last decade. I like the idea of using this like a test bench whenever we want to put a graphics card on. You've got easy access to everything. It was sturdy. It was easy to build in. And I know I seem like I'm glazing this even though it's sponsored, but when I first built in it, I didn't look at the price and I told myself if it's under $100, I would have bought this myself. And at the time of recording, I think it was 59 Canadian dollars.
59 Canadian, which works out to like $40, $35 or something.
I think it was like 42 US.
42 US dollars. That's right. What stood out for me mostly was the quality of the print. So they don't use, you know, your average weak filament like this. I really felt was as strong or maybe even on par with injection mold plastic. It doesn't have all those crappy little lines that you see in a lot of 3D printed stuff. It's textured. There's even cool designs printed into the top of it, and they don't look 3D printed, if you know what I mean.
Dan knows his plastic. He's built a lot of Warhammer models.
Yes, and I've got to say this is pretty rigid. Like, I think it's really well made. Now, personal gripes, I don't really have that many. I would say some of the parts, if you're really not careful, the tolerances, I'm sure there'll be improvements down the road, but there were a couple little pieces that we had to use pliers to gently insert pegs with. Honestly, that's so minor though that, like, I mean, I'm not gonna let it ruin the feelings that I have about this case, which are quite amorous. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 in my opinion.
I'm also going to give this case a 9 out of 10. I love that they sponsored us, but if I'm being totally honest, if they hadn't sponsored us, I would have bought one of these and we would have done this video anyways. They've been really communicative. I get the impression like they really love and believe in this product. If you look at their product page, you can see that there have been a number of revisions since this, and they even sent us a little prototype that's intended for MATX boards. But you can see that this is much more in-depth. There's much more in the way of supports compared to an ITX board.
And look at the coolest detail is it mounts at an angle.
Oh, that's sick. Oh, hold on. Let me
That
see.
is super cool. So that's what the next one will look like.
That's sick.
If you really like this case and you want to get one for yourself, check out our affiliate link in the description or the comments. You can get your hands on one and it'll help us reinforce our channel and pay for some toilet paper in the new studio. Aside from that, if you also want to support the channel in another way, join our Patreon. For $1 a month, you can get your name in every video that we do, just like these lovely people that are moving by in front of us. And without further ado, this has been Cooking with Canadian Computer Collector. Thank you so much for tuning in on this one, and be sure to check out InsurgencyLabs.com for all of your case needs.